batsman.
Well,
okay. And we are back. Apologies. Down.
We've got a man down behind play for Brighton.
Behind play for Brighton. It looks like the number 22.
It's centre. Yep, it's the centre, Aaron Coleman.
So Aaron Coleman is just struggling a little bit, but we have another penalty to Onkas. The penalty. What's the penalty count starting to look like at the moment?
I'll make it well in Onkas' advantage so far. 1 for Onkas.
Front rows have come up, but again, World Rugby has said we can carry on. Good line from McKinley.
Yeah,
just can't get there.
Great defence.
But the ball is there and available as they go out to that right-hand side. A big step back inside. It looked like Bradford was there with hands on. Just though it wasn't Bradford. There was another long-haired young man. Van Aswegen has a pop, but just didn't get there. White line fever will start to come into the Onkas eyes. There's another penalty advantage in that red zone. Yep. There's a try there. They've managed to get over. It's a big frame of Tom McCall. And there's
big
a
man.
Little bit of frank and honest discussion after the try.
They won't be sorry if he gets fired up the way he did in last year's grand final.
Last year's grand final for me, he was in that second half. He was the best player on the ground.
Undoubtedly.
And we watched him first game this year. We saw Tom McCall, and he puts his hand up and does so much work in the midfield, and very much deserved try. And he's always going to be there or thereabouts. If you get into that red zone, if you get 5 meters out, and Tom McCall can get his hands on the ball, defenses are going to be. They're going to be tested.
They've got to be worried. And that's a great early sign for Onkas, I think, that he's getting fired up.
So Nathan Evans will have another pop at goal, see whether he's learned from his first kick at goal, whether he'll make that adjustment. So some people are saying the sound. Oh no, the sound is back. Thank you very much, Andrew Shepherd. We get all of our technical feedback from our Facebook crowd. So we'll see whether he's made his adjustments.
Because he'll have to account for this wind. Going to take it further away from the post for him.
And it is gusting as well.
Yep.
It's not a friendly win for a right-footed kicker, but he has worked it out as the The flags go up. So 20 minutes gone. Onkas 7, Brighton 0. No time for anybody to worry. It's a good close game.
Onkas will be very pleased with that start, though. Very happy. Ian Bryce will be quite relieved that his guys haven't sort of gotten too nervy, or they haven't given away penalties. It's Brighton who's been giving away some penalties, and Onkas have really settled well.
So Satala will restart. Very famous Fijian name, Satala.
Famous name down here at both Onkas and Brighton with the Satala brothers.
But it's a very, very good rugby pedigree in Fiji. The
is.
Satala family. His sister, Ebony.
Yep, Ebony, yep.
Represented Fiji in the Sevens in the World Series last year.
She did.
Certainly some good rugby pedigree, and the Satala Jesus, he shows and goes and just managed to...
Oh, knocked on by Ali Wood, the big second rower.
But knock-on was there, and there's another little bit of afters. It's in danger of bubbling over a little bit.
Yep. No, good spirit there.
The spirit is always there.
It's rugby.
So it'll be nothing more than a scrum.
So it's another Onkas put-ins. Onkas had most of the put-ins to the scrums.
Hasn't been as many.
No.
The mistakes-wise, it's been okay. It's been manageable.
Yeah.
And it's been in issues like that when there's been a half break, and probably just tried to push that back. They come all the way back as McKinley lets go with that Howard's the left leg that he has.
Oh, favourable bounce for Brighton.
Just held up. Brighton can come back if they want to. Big looping pass out to the left-hand side. Satala finds himself there and just chips and goes. Will he get a decent bounce? He does.
Yeah, he does.
He's looking for that offload. Didn't come. Pine gave him a bit of leeway on being able to get up and play it again.
That's Sparky out Cook.
Unfortunately, the pass just goes away from hands and a little bit of a knock on. So it looks like, is that Henry Bradford wearing the 6? So it looks
Henry.
like the flankers have swapped.
You see the Brighton players, the names on their backs of their jumpers are life members who've got those jumpers named after them for the A grade to wear. So you see some famous names in there as well. Rickson here at number 9. So a bit confusing if you're watching this and thinking that's the players themselves.
But obviously Henry has confused me because he is listed on my team sheet as number 7, and he is a man who owns a flowing mane of golden hair. So it's quite easy to mistake the two of them. Thankfully for us, Henry is wearing a horribly coloured head guard, so we can pick him out as Van Aswegen just moves out to the right to McKinley, who just steps inside. Wasn't held in the tackle, so can go again and give his support time to get there, as they do, and Doughty just box kicks down into that right-hand corner. Pushes Brighton deep. It's a good kick as it holds up, forcing Brighton to kick out of a horrible position. He's just kicked into midfield, a bit wild. So the big fella just decides, I want to have a run at this black and yellow wall.
Made good ground.
So the defensive line speed from Brighton left a little bit to be desired at that point.
Onkas looking dangerous.
Jen working down that right-hand side. They like to work onto that right-hand channel. McCall into the middle, gave a pass, which he doesn't normally do, and surprised everyone, including the receiver of the pass. McCall just steps into halfback and decides to go again. Better ball to Van Aswegen. Certainly, as we reach the 25-minute mark, Onkas are certainly looking the more settled of the two.
They do. They look very composed.
Doughty snipes and steps, but just can't make it. But they are again in that red zone. They are there and thereabouts in that 5-meter zone, in that dangerous area where the big boys start to. And a penalty advantage again in that 5-meter channel. I don't know how long the referees can allow them to happen. There's been a number there as McCall didn't really want it. Got it anyway. They do have the penalty.
Comes the penalty again.
As Doughty goes quick, just can't get there. There is a hand in there from Bradford. And he managed to slow it down. He managed to slow it down without the referee seeing. Ball comes a bit messy, but Aldred with We'll see whether we can see who the winner is. Well, I think it could be Kane Golding because it's not Troy Wilkins. That's what we're going with. But as we see this replay, they're a little bit good cut-out pass from Aldred, a lovely long pass from McKinley.
Great.
Over in the corner goes Golding. So
great pass.
Wonderful rugby.
No, very composed and just worked away at it until they had it where they wanted it and scored.
And as a winger, they're the tries you want. 5 metres out, nobody in front of you. As we see Maxie, his boots look even better under the lights. Bought those boots especially for this year, young Max.
Very leery. Not like an our day.
The kids are wearing them now.
Coloured boots.
You can't go and buy black and white boots now. You can't get them at all.
Shocking.
So a little bit of again, there is no easy kicks, but for a right footer, he'll just want to set this out probably a little bit outside the right-hand post.
Yeah, the wind will just hold this up a little bit.
The wind do its work, but yeah, Richard Wasley will
have a few things to say at half-time, I think.
He'll be scribbling in his notepad, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
It was just a little bit too easy, that try.
It was.
Somebody who prides themselves on the defence and how good defensively they've been at the start of the season.
I guess you can, if you get that much possession, can hold on to the ball, you're going to be able to work it eventually.
So get a good shot there is what the wind is doing to that ball. He just needed to set it out further right. Aim at the point post almost. To use an AFL saying.
Brighton will be wanting to reset things from here pretty quickly. If they let it continue as it is, it's not going to do their cause any good at all. Big Ali Woods up.
I was going to say that looked like a knock-on from Brighton. So
I see Darcy Bagshaw is on the wing. He must be on in place of, I'm not sure which winger is off for Brighton. Is it number 14 who's off?
I can't see. No, the 14 is in
so we've got 11. Okay, so Robert Ferguson must be off.
So that's Rob Ferguson's off, is he?
Can't see. Yep.
Can't see whether they made an interchange. There is another winger over there, but
can't see.
Unless he was just a little bit messy at the moment. As Aldred goes down. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, and he just needs a rest. The young man who'll be pleased that we're playing at night. He is a very fair complexion with his red heads. Be lathered in sunblock if it wasn't a night game. I suppose that's almost like performance enhancing, isn't it? Like trying to catch an oiled pig. Just in the background there, trying to keep warm, we see George Doughty, Uncle George, with the white hat on, wrapping himself up against the
rug
cold
over his
there.
knees. Rug over his knees there. I walked past him earlier when I came over, and he was just getting all set for the game.
Cornerstone of South Australian rugby, that young man.
Yeah.
Been involved for a long, long time. Was a competition manager until he retired 2 years ago. If you ever wanted to know anything about rugby, you just go and see George Doughty. Go and see Uncle George. He'd tell you everything you needed to know.
Another win, another scrum win for Onkas.
McKinley again will
And
just
same.
unleash that leg.
Pinning Brighton back in their 20.
But Satala just stands him up. Off he goes, whether he's got the pace to beat McKinley. Turned him round, but decided to go in field. Just offloads to Fay, offloads to Bradford, and Cook goes for a rumble.
Wink,
but good
Mitch Wink
ball.
has it. Great counter-attacking by
We
Brighton.
talk about weapons, and Kyle McKinley's left leg is one of the best I've seen in South Australian rugby. But then when you're kicking to Nathan
Matt
Satala,
Spark.
when you're kicking to Nathan Satala, who is one of the best counter-attackers that South Australia rugby has produced, then
He's deceptive as
good
well.
inside
And
ball,
Jacob,
and the
big
fella
Jacob
wants to have a
France.
go. Here he goes over.
He's
the top.
over. Jacob
He's got to
France.
love that. The big fellas are going to love the big man try-scoring crew. He just rumbled and bumbled his way through. They couldn't quite get in front of him to make that tackle.
Big boy. He's only his second year in seniors, Jacob France, and he's playing out there with his brother tonight, who's in his first year in seniors, playing at number 8.
It was a wonderful run. Look, he chose the line as we see it again. As Sparks started it off, he made the good yardage, managed to get them in the way, and he just goes late.
Good line.
Just
yeah.
just a lazy disguised line, and just too strong for the Yonka Brewing defence. That'll make Richard feel a little bit more happy.
He will. He'll be, and pretty sure Jacob will be very happy with that one. He had a similar big run last week in the game against Collegians.
So Paddy Fay will have this kick a goal.
Usually a deadly kick.
Yeah,
yep.
and the wind will actually assist kicking at that end because it will straighten it out a little bit. So, pretty fair. The adds on the extras. Onkas 12, Brighton 7. Wind has dropped off a little bit. It's died down a little bit, but
feels like it has. It's less freezing over here.
Still a nip in the air.
Be interesting to see if Onkas just deal with that little blip in their progress in the game and stay calm and composed now.
They've managed to regather the kickoff, so they can go again if they want to. He just straightens up and he gets past that gain line, so it makes life a lot easier for everybody. Doughty was a little bit slow getting there, which just messed it up a little bit. Good inside ball though. A little bit isolated, allowing the counter ruck to come through. Doughty with lovely hands just manages to flick it out the back before he was mummified by the big fella. Again, just seeing that tactical kick in battle. If that holds up, that's a good kick, and it does hold up. So it is
there's Rob Ferguson out there.
So there is Ferguson. He'll straighten up and find a gap, and off he goes.
Great.
So just scratched a little bit by McCall. So there is a high tackle there, but just lazy, I think, more than anything else. There was nothing malicious.
Hard not to be a high tackle when it's Tom against Rob Ferguson.
And it's a long way down for
It's a long way down for Big Tom.
Big Tommy. This is better from Brighton. This is what they needed to be doing from the word go. But again, a little bit isolated for Spark. But they had the penalty in the back pocket. But wouldn't want to see them getting that isolated too often.
No.
It's part of the problem with open rugby and how open the game is and how quick it goes. You can find yourself isolated. Satala will just...
Can, especially some of these guys who are such good runners. They've got to be careful they don't run away from their own support.
So the line-out throw will be Brighton's. They are just inside their own half. Looks like they've reduced that line-out. They've gone to a 4-man line-out. Expect to see a little bit of movement, and they make a liar of me and just go to the front. Off the top to Faye, and again, just a drop ball from your first 5. Jed Easton. So a couple of drop balls, Jed. I think he needs to blow on his hands a bit.
Yeah, he does.
Is he a UK import, is he?
Yep, he's one of 4 mates who have moved out here. 3 of them playing tonight, 1 played in the second grade game earlier.
So he should be used to the cold weather.
Yeah, he's been out here all season. And
Bradford will just put the toe down and try and take on McCall, and didn't get there. So that's gone forward in the tackle, and Onkas will have the advantage if they want to take it. Oh, well, it's McCall, and there is a flag out, and there was a little bit between McCall and Bradford. So we'll try and keep an eye on what's being said and what's going on. The way McCall reacted, you would suggest it was serious.
Yeah, but then that's, I mean, he won't mind, his team won't mind him getting fired up by something like that.
No, well,
it's only going to see him play better, I think.
Certainly, you don't want to see Bradford sitting down for 10 minutes.
No.
You would hope that it's not too serious, and he goes to the other pocket. Because if he went to the other pocket, that's a big mountain to climb.
That would be a gigantic mountain to overcome in this game.
Unfortunately, we can't hear what the referee is saying today, but we'll see what we can do as we have a look at Ken Golding, the try scorer. A couple of times he's been available on this left wing, and Onkas haven't managed to get it to them. They got it to him that time. And
they have kicked. They've set up and then kicked over to this side quite a few times, kicking Brighton back into their 22 and over to this side. So it might be something they're aiming for.
We are seeing them work down that right-hand side. So he's just having a chat with the captain. And it is Bradford that's coming over. There's a swinging arm being shown. What colour have we got? It's a yellow card, so we'll sit down for 10 minutes. So that is Henry Bradford, employee of Rugby Union South Australia.
I know. It's a tough one for Brighton.
He'll be cleaning the toilets for a week and work.
It's tough. Brighton will really have to batten down the hatches here if they're not going to give up.
No, so I think they were asking for more, and I think there's been a replacement because we do have Aaron Tawera on. Very, very experienced prop, played professionally in France. Also has represented the state of South Australia. Wonderful guy, excellent technique in that front row. So hopefully he stays around and we get to see him on this side and we get to have a look at that body shape of his as McKinley will look to move them down that right-hand wing. And again, he just unleashes that leg. He's a wonderful cultured left leg. There's something about a left footer. Don't know what it is. If you're born left-footed, that you just naturally have the ability to kick a ball a mile.
Yep, and somehow lovely and elegant to watch.
So Jason Hyam has joined us. He's watching it up in the clubhouse. I'll give him a wave. Wave over to the clubhouse for him. As Onkas Bringer come off the top. And Van Aswegen again will look into midfield. That's a lovely disguised ball. He just looked at the back of McKinley, hit it hard and straight. Van Aswegen again, and Tawera will just go and have a rumble. Better than last time. He knocked it on last time he had a run, and McCauley's there, and he'll be fired up and looking to go. Just offloads.
Patiently working it again, Onkas.
They are very, very patient at the moment as Van Aswegen will just move into that midfield. Doughty just loses his footing. Conditions are great tonight. There's not a major issue with the conditions. He just unfortunately got his foot in the wrong place, I think. He just reverses his field and comes back. Doughty has a little bit of a nibble, but doesn't get anywhere. Supported by McCall. McCall picks and goes onto that left-hand side. Doughty again will move onto that right-hand side, and Van Aswegen will, little short ball, but it just pops off as Satala can counter-attack if he wants. He's got a little bit of free rugby. Good offload as Jed Easton just carries that on and manages to keep hold of that one. Again, finds Satala, who just nudges it down that wing, but unfortunately too far out, but there's a penalty for offside. So
that's the first penalty for Brighton for quite some time in this half. There's a big penalty count, 7-2 or so in Onkas' favour.
Satala has taken on most of the kicking out of hand duties with Faye kicking to goal, so again we'll see them just inside their own half with a line-out.
Brighton need to win this on their own ball. They need to start having some possession here. Onkas are really dominating the possession figures.
Gone to a six-man line-out and just messes a little bit. Cook couldn't get his hands on it. So Onkas Bringer will turn over another Brighton line-out. The line-outs turnovers have been going probably a little bit the way that...
Line-outs, the scrums and the penalties are all favouring Onkas quite clearly.
There was space there, and he had a half look. He wasn't held, so he can go again, and he makes even better yards. So he's at the bottom of it, so as per usual, McCall is there.
And beautiful offload. Stood up in that.
I will say this now as we get that penalty and we wait for that penalty. I'll say this now. Tom McCall has been absolutely outstanding in every single game that I've watched him. Unfortunately, I think for Tom, because he does the hard work in the engine room, I don't think there are many referees that will give him 3 votes, but if he's not there or thereabouts for the Don Smith this year, it'll be a travesty, because both games I've watched him play, he's been absolutely outstanding.
He is.
And they have a penalty there.
Again tonight.
They have a penalty there, so this would be close to the last action we see of this half, and Evans can have another pot at goal. They can go in a little bit more comfortable. Ian Bryce will certainly be the happier of the two coaches at the moment.
He will. Don't begrudge him that. I played with Ian as well back when we were both playing and rode surf boats with Ian, so I know him pretty well. And
I'm assuming Ian also has a history with Brighton. His daughter plays.
His kids play down here. His brother, his dad. I played with his dad, Harry, as well, of course, and Ian and Graham and so on, when our younger days. So he's a Brighton boy. up until the last couple of years, but doing a really good job, excellent job down at Onkas. Very proud to see him going so well down there.
Another product of the Brighton machine, really, as Evans will look to just tack on 3 points to the Onkas score. The wind seems to have swung around and is blowing into his face somewhat. Good driving strike, but there's...
No, he's missed it.
Flag stays down. It looked like it went over to us, but...
It did, from here.
The assistants are in a much better position than we are, and they kept their flags down, and that's what's important.
That's what they're paying the big bucks for. Looks a picture on the stream, the pitch and the lights and the...
Certainly does look good.
Uniforms.
Something about playing under lights on a Saturday night. Just a bit messy, that ruck, and you can see it. The bad ruck led to a bad pass, and it's all a little bit messy, but Onkas manages to settle it down somewhat and get more people in support, which is better.
That's been the story of this half so far. They've settled down every time. Even if the little things go wrong, they've settled straight down again.
I've just noticed as well that Aaron Tuera is on, and Big Red Jamie Aldred isn't on, so I think when we said, and the scrum went down, and we said we hope it's not an injury, it might be an injury. So it does appear that we are having some technical issues with this feed.
It looks like it. Oh, you back?
I'm not sure whether you left us, but in the middle of the field, and there is a penalty there, not
penalty.
rolling away.
Yeah, there's been free kicks both ways with the scrum so far, so they're maybe not an aspect of the game that's working exactly the way either team wants.
It's a little bit messy, and of course the new World Rugby directive is that even if he kicks it into touch, they can take the line up.
Yep, which he's done.
He's just kicked it into touch. Don't think that's where he wanted it to go.
Just about kicks it up through the window of the bar in the Brighton club room's
That's
upstairs.
Famously, you normally see a camera up in that window.
You do. It's a great
operated
position.
by yourself.
Normally me up there.
And as you're not there and you're down here, there is no camera up in that window.
Well, kindly the professionals are doing it for us tonight.
There's always a weird feeling when you looked up at that window to see someone staring at you. It's kind of like a Bates Motel kind of feel. He just throws it inside, a cry of forward from my left-hand side, but the knock-on was there anyway. Now we have half-time. So Onkas 12, Brighton 7. Been a good first half of rugby. Tight as we expected, and really only that lapse of concentration on that left-hand side, which has led to the Onkas try, really.
Well, I think what led to the Onkas tries was them controlling the play for long periods and doing what they wanted to do. So all credit to Onkas the way they played that.
So on Thursday night we came down here and we interviewed coach and captain as we always do, and we also had a chat with Roger Lassen. We will show you that interview with Roger as soon as we get it queued up. We talked about obviously Brighton Rugby Club as it goes, but just going back to that first half of rugby, this will be almost all changed now, depending on if Burnside won and how far out in front they got. And Onkas will win, so it could be all changed now. And obviously Old Collegians and what they did today, the top four I think is going to change from week to week at the moment. So what we will do is we'll just go to that interview now, and we will be back with you after this very, very short break.
Thanks, Dave.
Hello from CME Sports Lighting Rugby Field down at Brighton. I'm here with the president of Brighton Rugby Union, Roger Lassen. Roger, big news for 2017, if you'd like to share with our viewers what that news is.
Absolutely, Dave, and firstly, thanks for joining us here this evening. All the kids trading in the background, so we're going to try and get our voices across over the noise of sheer enjoyment. Big changes for us in 2017. We're very, very proud to announce and also acknowledge the assistance of one of the other members of our rugby community, Kim Evans, in working closely with us to get a Brighton women's team participating back in the senior women's competition. It's been about 15 years since we've last participated in the senior competition in the women's grade, and we're very excited to accomplish that and achieve that milestone this season and get us back on track as we should.
Hello, we're joined. Yeah. Is this the daughter?
This is, in fact, this is interesting because, as you know, Dave, this weekend we're playing Onkas. Obviously, you've seen the first half happen just back then. If this is going live in the halftime break, this is in fact little Penelope Bryce. She's the daughter of the Onkaparinga Premier Grade coach. This is Penelope. She's a Brighton girls. You won't change her colours, and she's my little firecracker. She has a lot of love with me every time she sees me. So glad to have her in shot.
So, Penelope, I might just ask you a question. We just said that there's going to be women's rugby at Brighton, and are you looking forward to playing as a woman for Brighton?
Yes.
Excellent. Are you going to score lots of tries?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Penelope.
Interestingly enough, Penelope has just registered this evening, and she's in fact playing junior rugby at Brighton as of this weekend, so good on her.
Excellent news. Excellent timing, Penelope. Well done. And just very, very quickly then, just to finish, you are also in the middle of a major redevelopment. I think the first stage of that was the new lighting, which will take you up to a level where you can host NRC games and things like that.
Correct.
And you are in negotiation at the moment as to redeveloping the whole precinct.
Yeah, so we're working very closely with our friends at the lacrosse club, the footy club, the cricket club, the dog club, and anyone else that happens to use this space in terms of the Brighton Sporting Precinct, working closely with the local council, and we're obviously on the throes of looking to finalise the architectural planning, and obviously then seek some federal and state funding for the redevelopment of multiple sites on the sporting precinct. So we're not just focusing on our own club as a rugby union club, we're helping our brothers and sisters out in the other sporting codes, but looking to retain all the individual clubs' identity. What it would mean for us is we're actually, for those who've frequented Brighton quite often, as you have, Dave, what it would mean for us is into the future we would no longer be standing on the eastern side of the oval, having the sun in our eyes while we're trying to observe and enjoy the game as the sun sets in the winter months. We would relocate the building to the western side of the oval and obviously build something that's suitable for our needs as we expand and as we've grown, to cater to not only all age groups but all genders as well.
So big news from Brighton as they develop into the future, both on the field and off the field. Lovely to be with. From Dave, Roger and Penelope, goodbye.
Welcome back to the Facebook live stream of the Coopers Premier Grade game between Onkaparinga Rugby Club and Brighton Rugby Club. It's been a very hot half game of rugby. We're just coming to the end of the halftime break. Dave, you went and spoke to both Troy and Ian earlier in the week. Was there anything that you that came up in the conversation with them that gave away what just happened in that first half of rugby?
I think they're tired of close games. I think they're tired of losing close games, and generally what you see from them and what we saw in the games is that they start off well and then they drop off and then they come back, and we haven't had that mid-game drop-off that we normally see from Onkaparinga. Well, not that we normally see that mid-game drop-off that we saw in Game 1 and that Ian referred to that they had at Burnside as well.
Well, they certainly came out of the gate firing today, which we didn't see in that last game, in the last live stream against Onkas. They seemed very coordinated straight off the bat.
I think if they can maintain that pressure and keep that going for the rest of the game, and then they can finish as strong as they normally do, they certainly can put Brighton under pressure. But Brighton are a very, very good side, Andy. They're a good side, and they'll be used to playing under this amount of pressure anyway.
Definitely, but I'd say Onkas, all credit, Onkas have not let Brighton play the way they've been playing the last 3 weeks. Not at all.
They've been really playing very well.
Stopped them playing their game, I think.
And in all Brighton's credit, they've given a very strong defensive game so far in this half. It's just Onkas have just been relentless. And having that red blood run through me, I am really hoping that Onkas take away the George Dowdy Shield home again tonight. It does look like the second half is about to begin, so we'll cut to that.
So thank you very much, Josh. Josh obviously nailing his colours to the mast, Andy. I'll stand between you and him to prevent any handbags being thrown.
He looks like a back to me. So
So Nathan Satala, we talked about Satala being a very famous name, and he's wearing Londimer on his back. Is it Londimer or Londima?
I've always said Londimer.
We'll say Londimer. That's also a very, very famous Brighton name.
Very famous name.
And off we go.
Oh.
We are back underway. See whether there's been any change in that front row as Van Aswegen knocks it over the back. That's a good kick from Aswegen. It does take an Onkas bounce. It will be a Burnside throw-in. Just see whether we can see whether Aldred has come back out for this second half. It doesn't look like he has, so it looks like he has got an injury. Unfortunately,
It's right in front of us here for this line out.
Again, we'll have a look at it. So we're going to try and get you some scores from today. Jason, if you are watching, and more importantly, if you're listening, can you post the scores? We know you have them. Jason Hyam, he apparently has the scores from today. So if you are listening, Jason, just post them in the comments for us. That would be wonderful. Just a bit messy from that line out on both.
Very. Brighton would have wanted to make a better fist of winning that line out, but they've got the scrum.
But as we talked about, now we do get a chance to see Aaron Tuera. I'll have a look at his body position here. There is Aaron's legs. But I was always impressed with the body position of Aaron Tuera when he scrummages. So the gentleman in the yellow boots in the front row, just see how low he gets and how strong he is in his position.
Oh, great drive, one against the head. Fantastic.
So he led the charge there, and Brighton look into midfield. McKinley will just start to amble back to his forward support.
That's a bit of a scary sign, Onkas driving Brighton off their own ball in that scrum.
So McCall just taking the inside ball and then just coughing it up. Faye is there, and they go on to that right-hand side with Cook, who just shifts it on.
Coleman.
So is Coleman an import as well? I saw him play in the pre-season. Saw Brighton use him as a first receiver a lot from the scrum.
I think he is. He's a fairly recent import. He's not one of the four mates that all came out here together, but he's another more recent import.
I think he has a rugby league background. It's the first time I've seen him in rugby union shorts, but I think he has a rugby league background, which
certainly,
as an inside centre in that 12 position, it's always
he's a great runner at that position.
Rugby league players certainly know how to pick their lines and hit the line at speed.
Whatever else you say about the league players, definitely that's a real skill they have.
Of course, we have nothing but the utmost respect for rugby league players.
Fine body of men.
It's not their fault. They are the ginger stepchild of rugby. I'll be in terrible trouble for saying that. No, I have respect for both. I have played both. There's Wilkins will have a little dart and have a look. Again, the support is there, so they can go again. Certainly been patient. Tuera will just go down the short side, lower his shoulder, and off he goes. Looks like he's learning the tackle ruck maul, the rugby league guy. He's obviously got some experience around there. But we checked the weather. It says it's 14, feels like 12. I think they're missing a minus. It's certainly got chilly over here.
4 feels like 2, I think.
Yeah, too many ones on it.
Ferguson.
But again, they'll go to Satala in midfield. He's almost plays like a quarterback back there, doesn't he? He's always looked at as he...
And always makes ground when he takes the ball forward.
Beats tackles. He has this wonderful ability to make the tackle and miss. Long ball out to Cook, who just ships it on again and then goes and cleans up.
It's good
Better from Brighton, and a big cutout ball on the right from Faye. Just couldn't get away from that tackle. Again, a lot of lenience on whether he was held or not, but bobbles around, and Faye cleaned up, but he's knocked it on. No, well, not knocked it on, he's turned it over. Yeah, and Onkas can go. It's a little bit harem-scarum at the moment.
It is.
Both
nobody's
coaches
settled.
will want them to settle it down.
Yeah, nobody's settled yet since half-time.
Van Aswegen will look for a big cut-out pass for Wilkins, who just stands up his opposite winger, and off he goes again, but that's a good tackle. And he has got hands on there. Whether that's going to be turned over enough, it has been turned over, and it looks like it was Bradford who turned it over. Looks like Bradford got his hands on.
Oh, and penalty for Brighton.
Welcome back to the game, young man. Now he needs to behave himself because he is on a yellow card. And the back rowers are always flirting with danger around that tackle ruck maul situation.
Yeah,
so he needs to behave himself. A little bit more than he normally would.
The better the back rower, I think, the closer they
Yes.
step to that line.
Certainly walk around on thin ice, don't they? A perfect example of that is
Doesn't
McCaw.
Exactly. It doesn't always make great friends amongst the opposition players when they flirt that close to the.
The ball just made its
edge.
way over the fence, and we're just waiting for that to come back. So everybody can pause for breath, and I think we need to. It's been a little bit just rushed. It feels a little bit rushed the start of the second half. So they go to the back, and unfortunately just over the top, but Brighton managed to clear it up. There's a big hole there, and he nearly got through it. Van Aswegen just managed to grab him by the shirt and scrag him to the ground. Faye again will look to that right-hand side. There's our rugby
Coleman,
league friend,
great, straightens
Coleman
up.
just straightens up and finds a gap, and off we go again. Another big cut-out pass from Faye.
Now Brighton's starting to try and work it.
They're going to work into that right-hand corner, and unfortunately they just ran out of room. Just stepped out, so Onkas will have the throw-in. Looks like it's just outside the 22, so they won't be able to clear it. They'll have to bring it out. So they're taking a scrum, so they must have...
Feeling confident about their scrums, as they
Well,
should,
yeah,
as they should so
'cause
far.
They took
yeah.
the last one out against the head. How many have they won for the day? The
They're
scrums,
really sort of 5 or 6 to 2, I make it. There's not been that many scrums, really, but
They've been quite dominant. Again, as
They
we
have
see
been.
Tawera's body shape in that tight head prop position. That could just drop in front of Satala, and it does, and he just knocks on. He won't enjoy that. He certainly won't enjoy the fact that it's caught on camera. Prides himself on his hands. As Wilkins, who plays state with Satala, played state sevens with Satala at the national championships, just puts an arm around his shoulder and offers him sympathy.
yeah, I'm sure he's...
Completely unironically.
Oh, no, none of that. They very much feeling for him, I'm sure. That's my brother commenting there, insisting they do the whole commentary in the voice of Bill McLaren.
I did think about doing the voice of Bill McLaren, but I would not be able to do it justice, and I would never sully the memory of the great man by even attempting. Bill McLaren, for those of you who don't know, is a very famous Scottish commentator and full of metaphors for rugby players. Again, a very solid scrum from Onkas. This scrum has been absolutely
Yeah,
solid
scrum, they've been
through the
great.
game as
They
Wilkins
have been great.
goes over and finds himself in midfield, and that gets knocked on.
Brighton win it back, trying to turn Onkas around.
They have turned Onkas around. You never want to let the rugby ball bounce because it will not behave, but Van Aswegen does a good job.
It's great, and they've back.
They have got space out there. That's a lovely step. I'm not entirely sure how many, whether the arms are there in that tackle as Smith just looks out to that left-hand side. Doughty finds Aswegen, who finds a runner just off his right-hand shoulder.
He makes good ground.
Ball is coughed out somewhere, though. Satala looks to make amends for his knock-on. Manages to find Faye, who again will just push Onkas back.
I think at this stage, Brighton just trying to turn them so that they can start to exert some dominance the way Onkas did all through the first half. But it's just not quite, and still, as you said, nobody's quite settled in the second half.
Just as we pan back, unfortunately the camera will just miss Roger Lassen, who is stood by the sausage sizzle, obviously getting his hands dirty, doing some of the hard yards. Even the president of the club isn't above doing the barbecue. That's the wonderful thing about our rugby community. Everybody puts their hands up, rolls their sleeves up and gets involved. So Onkas will just go to the back, but not straight. So Brighton will have the choice to see whether they take the scrum or the line out. They've taken the scrum, so they'll need to sort that out. They'll need to sort that scrum out.
They will. They obviously feel confident enough to opt for the scrum here. It's good position for them.
Was there one against the head that we saw? The strong one against the head, was Henry still off the field, or because we're back to 8 on 8 at the moment, so maybe that was a reason.
That could have been, and that's a good win by Brighton.
It's a better win. It's not as solid as they liked it to be, and it's put Fay under a little bit of pressure, but he's managed to come away with it. So the big fella puts his hand up and just rumbles onto that right-hand side, and they go again. They're going to look for more pick and drive. Again, Fay just turns them around with the box kick.
Oh, that's a
Again,
bad, ugly
up.
bounce.
Yeah,
Ugly bounce for Onkas.
Obviously identified a weakness, and you know the kick has to land on a good target.
It does. And he's obviously landing it where he wants it.
There's no point kicking it for the sake of kicking it and then just kicking it down the throat of the defender back there. But Troy Doughty's kicking game has been impeccable in this second half, really. He's landing it in good targets.
Oh, great take by Ali Wood, and big drive.
That is a big drive. Unfortunately, he just loses his footing. Nothing untoward about that as they go into midfield with Easton. Just slows it down.
Coleman's as straight as a back up.
He's a little bit isolated. His support needs to get there.
Yeah, there they are. They arrive.
Fay will look left. But yeah, they did get the penalty for Van Eswegen not getting out the way quick enough.
Wood.
Could be space out right if they get quick recycle from this one. There is space out right, but Onkas managed to just come through the middle of it.
Yeah, good
Van
defense.
Eswegen again making a nuisance of himself
And
around
the
that
ball's
ruck.
loose.
Ball is loose. Again, a little bit isolated, and a couple of Onkas players have their hands on the ball. Again, it's slow, but they managed to get it away.
So Brighton managing to do what Onkas were doing in the first half and just
Van
patiently
Eswegen
maintaining
again
possession.
is very slow to get out of there. He's not making any effort. So again, they just can't get out right. They are calling for it outright. It looks like they are on equal numbers though, as they on the right hand side.
Onkas are not giving up
Bradford
penalties
has
here.
another little look, another little sniff, and can't get there.
Ball's at the back.
Now will they spread it? They get it out, and he just straightens and off he goes. Big lazy arm. He just ran through it. Tremaine Butler, and again another penalty because they're not moving out of the way. You can look at the referee and hold their hands in the air as much as they like, but he's through. Did he get it down? Very difficult to see from our position. He's going to call time and talk to his assistant. It's difficult to see from our position whether he got it down
Brighton
or not.
players think he did.
So we'll try and have another look at it. And he has signalled to try in the background. So we'll have another look at it and see whether we can see A, who the scorer was, and B, whether he got it down. It's too difficult to see from that angle. But it was another headgear wearing player. Struggling to see who it was. It might have been someone wearing number 12. So,
It looks
with
like
the kick to come, we are all square. And we are
I think
27 minutes away.
still plenty of time.
Still plenty of time, but like we said, Onkas will be stood under those posts and thinking, we are dripping. They did dip somewhat at the start of that second half.
Yeah, well, certainly Brighton have done well to break that dominating first half that Onkas had over them.
Good strike from Fay. Just didn't come round as much as he'd want it to. So we are all tied up. Around 55 minutes to go as Paddy Fay just jogs back. We are all tied up. So certainly wouldn't be cracking the whip just yet. We're still settling into our running. It's not time for the grandstand finish just yet. There's still plenty of time.
Yeah, still, even 15 minutes into this half, you feel like both sides are still settling.
Well, that has gone down. A good high restart, but a good take pretty sure that's the try scorer, so we'll try our best to find out who it is. They turn Onkas around, and again
great
the
bounce
of
for
that
Brighton
ball,
and Tremaine Butler.
It's gone straight into Butler's hands, and he can have a run. He's a very good sevens player as he straightens between the two of them. Just dragged down by Evans, but good run by Butler, and now right they go. So he's just dropped that. So the try scorer, I'm pretty sure, is the number 12 in the headgear. So if we can identify who that is, because we know we had a jersey change.
Okay, well that might be Joe Fay then, because he had 22 originally on the team sheet, and Aaron had 12, and if they've swapped over.
So we are going to give it to Joe Fay.
Joe Fay,
Paddy's little brother.
Yep. But that's just sort of informed guesswork at this stage.
Well, we're giving it to him. I thought we lost a floodlight, but it was our light from half time. That would have been interesting just to add to the problems that we've had. Troy Doughty puts into that scrum. That's a better scrum from Brighton, getting Onkas moving back and making it messy, but now he's saying it's a whip wheel. So if you see that basically turning around on itself, the referees say that that's you wheeling it round. It's not a natural wheel. Spend hours and hours and hours looking at videos of different scrums to the referees to see the difference between a natural wheel and an enforced wheel.
Good relieving kick out to the halfway line there.
So it has been like a heavyweight boxing match. It's been punch and counter punch. I think we see Reece Gerd come onto the field.
Certainly no knockout blows yet. Very even.
Go to Tobin and Brighton. Nick one. See whether they can launch from here. So that is Joe, and
great run.
Not entirely sure how many arms were in that tackle. Certainly didn't wrap him.
No.
So Joe just powered his way through it. Big boys game.
Oh, that's a great line.
Great line from Cook. Allows for that quick right recycle, and there's space out there, but France decides he just wants to go and put his head down. He saw a halfback, he saw a first five in front of him, and decided he wanted to take it on.
Big freight train rumbling away there.
Good old dancing feet Satala just works forward a little bit.
This is almost like watching the first half with the jumpers switched. This is exactly what we're watching all first half.
They've come out a little bit. Good offload from Easton, and there is space out here, but Butler just dummies everybody. Then decided to have a go.
Well, all of us are
So we'll have a look at it. There's Butler just off he went. I didn't think that the left-hand side was on, but a good ball from Cook, and he just lowered his shoulder and powered his way over.
Reached out with that left hand.
Yeah, but Brian was in no hesitation to give that try.
He was in a much better position to call it than we are.
Not quite at the TMO yet, but I don't think we're too far away, Andy.
Well, with this setup, I could see it. I could see it coming.
So Fay will probably take his time, allow everybody to collectively take a breath. So 5 points the difference, and Fay will line up for goal. As we discussed, that the wind has dropped quite significantly, so it won't cause him too much of an issue at the moment.
Probably the best possible place he could be taking this for him as a right footer.
Hours and hours and hours, kick ball after ball after ball as a goal kicker.
See him out here before and after training when I'm down with the juniors. No.
It's a decent strike, but just drifted away to the left. So we're only 5 points the difference. Another close one.
Will Onkas start? Do you think Onkas will be starting to get a little seed of doubt in their minds about close ones?
You would hope that they've done enough work. You would hope that they've done enough work over the week not to think about that. get the score. Actually, what's interesting is the scoreboard is basically behind the sign, so if you are playing, because you used to have a scoreboard down in that back corner, which is gone.
Did, on the old shed there.
So the scoreboard is basically, you are unsighted as a player.
Yep.
So unless they're keeping score, that is an excellent restart. That's a really high kick, and Onkaparinga can get underneath it. It
someone in the
bobbles
head.
around. So we had a falcon, we just don't know who it falconed. But knocked on by Brighton, so Onkaparinga will have decent attacking opportunity, just midway between the halfway and the 22.
They want a repeat of that scrum a few minutes ago where they pushed Brighton right off their own. They want a repeat of that, set themselves up for some attack in the second half.
So interestingly, Wilkins has moved away completely from the blind side. It's whether that opens up for the number 8 or whether it's a planned move to try and bring him into midfield. But there was nobody blind. They're not going to go that way. Van Aswegen will go into midfield and hit McKinley, who just lazily goes past one and offloads, but Van Aswegen wasn't really ready for it. It pops off him. So Thaler can come away with it. Just hands off a couple and then goes to ground.
Decides to go down and reset.
It was very much a decision to go down. He wasn't tackled.
I agree.
As Cook will go into midfield and Brighton can go again. There are numbers here if they can find them. There's a good draw and give by France as Joey Fahey will step inside. Give that offload to his hooker. Who goes. He was a little bit isolated, but there's a good clean out. That's the kind of clean out you want to see.
Big alley.
Take everything.
And nice offload again.
Cook again will just do the hard yards, but he's a bit isolated. And it is turned over. Troy will look to offload, and it just goes behind. And the injured Onkas player decided that he was no longer injured.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure he can stand up.
But
Referee saying
shouldn't have touched it. Shouldn't have touched it then.
Referee saying he can't play the ball. And he's got a little bit of claret coming out of the head there, so it looks like he's taking a head knock.
Who we got?
I can't see a number, but he looks a little bit groggy, and there's a little bit of blood coming out the back of that head. So
he's got quite a little wound.
Quite a nasty one on the top of the,
we can see
top
that
of the head. So it's the number 5, which is Jacques Leroux. I would assume another South African, so another big tough boy. But head injury, he's got to go. They're not going to allow him to stay on. World Rugby certainly looks after head injuries. He'll go and be assessed and patched up, and we may see him again or we may not see him again.
He doesn't look too great.
He looked... so that was the big clean out, it would appear, that has caused the issue for him as he just walks past us. Look a bit groggy. Just copped one on the back of the head. That's the position you find yourself in, unfortunately, when you're jackling for that ball and a little bit isolated.
If you're a big tight 5 player, you'd spend a lot of your time down at the bottom of rucks and getting kicked and
who, like I said, is a very, very experienced prop.
Big strong boy.
He's certainly doing himself a lot of favours, as young Mr. France. The B grade result was a win for Brighton. No, a loss, 22-15.
Yep.
Onkas winning the B grade 22-15. But as we get this break, just a reminder that you are watching us on Facebook. Make sure that you share the footage. Get as many people watching as we possibly can. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart. Anything you can do, write us a comment, tell us where you are. And obviously this is brought to you by Rugby Union SA, powered by Spacequake Sports. Lovely to have you with us. You stay where you are in the warm. We will suffer out the cold for you. As McKinley will kick it in our direction, and it'll just catch our table.
Ball.
Come on, Andy, if you can get one hand to it, you can get 2 to it.
Oh, I think I'm jumping in the lineouts again. Get roundly cursed for only bothering to get one-handed. That's all pre-lifting days when I was playing.
It was just a line up, boys, and fight over it. It's a good line out. A nice little disguise run from Cook. Just a little bit of disguise as Butler will straighten up and off he goes. He's held up. They're asking for a maul. It is a maul, so it's got to come out. So that should be an Onkaparinga ball.
Yep, you called it.
When he calls maul, even if it goes to ground, it can't then become a ruck. And when it's a maul, you must do something with it, and if you don't, you turn the ball over.
Use it or lose it.
That's it. The man who said that you were all about your cliches, the cliche count isn't very high, to be honest, Andy.
No, I know Kenny O'Neill.
You're going to have to come home strong with these cliches. You've only got 15 minutes to go, so
got to come home with a wet sail in the cliche department.
There we go. As if
Let's watch Jacob France against his opposition prop here. Good chance for us to see. And his dad doing the meals upstairs tonight.
Well, there you go. So if you're new to rugby, or you don't know too much about rugby, or even if you are just new to front row play, really, just to let you know, the tight head, which is on the right-hand side, who has his head on the inside, takes up most of the power in the scrum. So for Mr. France to be going against him, he's working him hard.
It's a great kick.
Doughty will just turn Satala around, see whether Satala can do anything with this.
No, he hasn't got the ground he normally gets. Well tackled.
Close to a counter ruck there, but Brighton managed to get enough numbers there, but they got a lot of people there, and again, Faye will kick it high into the night sky. And
that's a very high. It's a great bounce for Brighton.
Joe Faye will work, but
great tackle.
Just tackled into touch.
And quick line out. No, it's called it back.
Yeah, I've called it back, and then what he's going to take. He didn't allow the quick line out to go. Doughty wanted to go quick. Or referee didn't allow him to. So we got people saying that you were never lifted in the lineup because you weren't that easy to lift.
Who said that?
Tom McLaughlin.
Oh, he was strong enough. Great prop, Tom.
So not straight, and Brighton will have the put in around the 10-metre line.
I think by the time lifting came in, I was increased in girth enough to just lift one of the little flankers or one of the young guys.
So the scrum has improved for Brighton. Certainly has improved.
It has. Actually, most of the aspects of play have gone from being dominated by Onkas to being even or slightly in Brighton's favour in the last 15 minutes.
So if you were Ian Bryce and you were looking at the clock, looking at the scoreboard, you'd be wanting to throw water on that aforementioned sail of yours.
Yep. Great
again,
drive,
they managed to get hands on. And again, they managed to hold up that tackle. And again, there's a little bit of afters from McCall and Bradford.
I'm going to say Tom McCall's been quiet, and that's coincided with the last 15 minutes.
We haven't called his name anywhere near as much in the second half.
I think that's telling in Brighton coming back into the game so well in the last 15 minutes. So he might need to just take it by the scruff of the neck himself. And
I think we see that.
Which he can do.
As we get into the final sort of 10 minutes of this game, I think Tom McCall lifts himself.
Yep.
Even at that point. And
he's well capable of it.
Van Aswegen will take the ball and just bring it into midfield, and McKinley is the recipient of that good offload, but good tackle.
Right player left his feet there.
Side entry, so penalty to Onkas Paringa. Again, it's any time you get a little bit isolated, then the penalties creep in at that ruck and maul.
What are they going to do here? Go for the points or touch?
How far out are we? We're about 40, so he's the one who knows his range, and he's decided to go for it. Obviously, if he makes it, as we saw him just nudge that ball forward about a yard as the referee's back was turned.
This will put them more than a try in front. So
couldn't get away with it with us watching though. We are hawk-eyed. No. But yes, if he gets this and tacks on 3 extra points, then it's a 2-score game.
Still anybody's game with the more than 10 minutes to go, but
Ian Bryce will have looked at the ladder and looked at the results for the year and seen how miserly the Brighton defence is. Lay down. So I think all the players know that the people who are watching want a grandstand finish. So trying to keep it as close as possible.
Onkas are calling.
Put it on Jermaine. There's a lot
right
of
here
these
in front of us.
A lot of these boys have played together at State Sevens, and it
All
will
through
go on
juniors.
to Butler, and he takes it easily, and then just shifts infield to Faye, and then just big looping pass out to that right-hand side as he just straightens up and misses it, beats a few tackles, makes more yards than he should, but Doughty's there with good hands on. And turns it over and kicks it. It's a foot race now. There is nobody home, but Ferguson's going to get back there, and he's on his own a little bit. It's about the work that he can do. He's done very well there.
For the little guy.
He's done excellent work there, and Brighton will be able to relieve some pressure. Faye was one of the first there cleaning out, so the halfback is away. Then just steps in. Satala again, just wanders over to that right-hand side and again finds space, which is important.
Great kick behind the fullback and the wing.
So Onkaparinga will now look to counter-attack. It's a big step, but he's very, very isolated. Tackle. He's all on his own. And the turnover should come. There's a knock-on by Bradford, so that's a high one. Again, just lazy. Yep. Don't think there'll be a card. He pulled out of it straight away.
He realised, he knew straight away.
So that's young Joe Faye. He knew it was high straight away and just pulled out of it. So nothing more than a penalty. So McKinley will just take the head off the, take the cover off the driver and lash it down the fairway. My mum is watching, so I will say right now, and I didn't mean to say this before, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there watching. It is Mother's Day tomorrow in Australia, so happy Mother's Day to all the mums watching. Hope your day is filled with chocolate and presents and relaxation.
I hope all you kids went out today and organised something for Mum tomorrow.
That's very true. So it will be, and Onkaparinga's put into the lineup, and Onkaparinga's famously will settle down into this right-hand corner where we are. And as you may probably be able to hear them just arc up a little bit as we get into now, we are talking about, cracking that whip and working that whip.
Great run.
There's a half break there again. He needs his support there as Butler rolls away slowly, but not quick enough.
Arms up.
They think they can get away with it, but they can't. So it gives it an interest. There's another good half break. That one from Gerd, who just offloads. So they're coming back for the penalty. So Gerd has a frank discussion, and that is carrying on between Greg Black and Rhys Gerd. Rhys Gerd has a very short fuse.
Nathan Satala's in there as well, I see.
If he was a grenade, you wouldn't want to throw him. Put it that way. He'd probably go off in your hand. We are trying to split it up. Finally going to get there. They have discussed the finer points of the third law of thermodynamics, and now they are ready to carry on and play. They have come to a consensus. But what I was going to say is, with this penalty, and we're probably around 7 to 10 minutes left to play, do you take the points, make it a 2-point game? If you go to the corner and you convert that try, you are in front.
Yeah, if they go for the points, they just need any kind of score in there, and they're in front, and so it might be wise. They might be looking at going for the points.
Scrum.
Oh, well,
as we've seen Onkaparinga's damaging driving maul, that's an interesting
overall, they've been dominating the scrums, but not so much in the last 15 or 20 minutes. So can they get back on top here?
Nice good, solid scrum.
Very nice.
Van Aswegen will look to launch from here. McKinley with a good line. Takes two of him, and I thought the ball popped out, but it's still going, and Doughty will move to that right-hand side. He's got Wilkins. It's again whether he can finish it. He's a strong lad as he goes, and he gets about 5 meters short. And there is a Brighton player in. No, it's an Onkas player. There's a problem with them wearing black shorts. saying there was
Brighton
a knock
put
on
into
in
the
there,
scrum.
and it will be Brighton scrum. This is the point that you would say that Onkas just need to unleash the horses now and try and walk all over this one.
They do.
If you ever got anything to put into a scrum, you put it in now.
Brighton, on the other hand, will want to stiffen the sinews here and put in their biggest scrum of the game to win this, relieve the pressure.
You would expect to see a number 8 pickup. Just to relieve the pressure, and we do have Robert Ferguson is sat in the pocket. Don't know whether he'll be the one who's kicking, and probably be Paddy Fay who will box kick out of here. But they are in the ascendancy. They need to. The other argument is you would want to keep hold of that ball because Onkas have shown that they are coming home with a damp sail at the moment. I would suggest it's fully wet.
That's a big difference. So this half is that Brighton have had their hands on the ball a lot more than they did in the first half.
So
That's a
we do
huge
see the
drive
drive
from
as Cook
from
stands
Onkas.
up. But referee's happy to let it go.
There's support's there.
We wouldn't be surprised if we see Brighton slow this down quite a lot. They'll be aware of the time that they're in.
And they want to eat the clock up.
And they have got have set back into the pocket, but as we suggested,
It's coming our way
they
again.
will box kick out of there. Doesn't
Oh,
make
he's
touch,
knocked
and
it
Wilkins
on.
knocked on.
That's a great result for Brighton. And he knows it.
Oh, he's not happy.
He is not happy. Not
But
happy, Jan.
He needs to keep his head, though. There is still time in this one.
There's plenty of time to win it.
So,
He doesn't need to be shouting at people on the sideline. I
just
think he needs
settle
to
yourself
concentrate.
down and get yourself ready for the next phase of play. And you'll be okay. Said it before, sports players need very, very short memories. But
Another
again,
good chance
they
for us
did-
to
They
look at
put
the
a lot
scrum,
of
yeah.
pressure. They put a lot of pressure on the last scrum.
Yep.
Onkas will have to go again. It's a big test for young Mr. France on this near side. He's going to have to hold a lot of pressure that comes through. Pressure got a little bit too much for Cook. As there it goes again, and
It's
again that
better by
pressure
Brighton.
comes on, but they have held their own there. As they go into
Satala.
midfield,
Oh,
just chips it through.
dangerous
and
if
again,
this
just puts
isn't
it
picked
into
up. Oh, it's
the
good
call in
pressure.
tennis and squash, the husband-wife zone, where nobody really knows whose it is. And Onkas can launch again. McKinley will look to launch on that left-hand side. He's managed to keep his feet and get out of a couple of tackles. Van Aswegen doing the forwards work is cleaning out, as Doughty will come all the way over to this side. And that's a good kick if it sits down. It does sit down, and it is an takes an Onkas bounce, but Brighton will have the put in. But, time is called because we have a flag out over on that far side, so
This will be interesting.
we'll have to wait and see what the decision is.
Big Tam McLaughlin commenting from Devonport. Watched his son Kyle today play for Devonport Bulls in a big win, and now he's getting to watch his old team Brighton hopefully have a win today. Not going to be a big one by either side though.
And that is the nice thing about it being an even game. But it's a Brighton penalty over there. Not entirely sure. I missed the signal. Oh, tip tackle. So he's penalised somebody for a tip tackle. Brighton will
Penalty
spend a
counters.
couple of minutes discussing whether they're going to kick it into touch.
What shall
Who's
we
going
do?
to kick it into touch?
After you. That's starting to even up the penalty count compared to the first half.
So clock management, and again they've missed the touch, and
They won't be happy
these are
about
things
that.
that they need to do. I mean, we really are into the dying embers of the game as Cook managed to get his hands on, but a big clean out from McCall.
Onkas want to get out of their
Managed to get in the ball
defensive
again.
zone
He's a
here.
little bit isolated, but again, good clean out by McKinley as Van Eswegen will pick up and look to offload, which he does. And Wilkins will have the chance to redeem himself, and off he goes. He's got good pace. He's managed to turn Faye around, but Faye's done very, very well.
great
And managed to
tackle.
get onto his feet and get the ball, but he lost his feet, so it will be an Onkas penalty. And
Relief
again,
Onkas,
there's a
a
little
quick
bit
tap.
of afters.
And they're away.
But we are away, and we're all just going very, very quickly now. Somebody needs to pump the brakes a little bit. Ball just goes to ground. Another Barnes-Wallace ball. As McCall just swings it out to Gerd, and Gerd breaks one tackle and he's still going, just dragged down by Easton. They manage to get away as McCall will just pick and go and play his half-back and Tawera just in midfield with a good ball, but man and ball really. Again, it's a good lay back. He managed to get it far enough away to prevent that jackal as McCall again will put his head down and starting to call his name a little bit more as we get to the end of this very, very close game as they go out onto that left-hand side.
That's where Onkas want to be.
Well, they're starting to open up that field.
That's the 80 minutes
again,
now.
And he'll just look. So it's 80 minutes on our screen. That's not to suggest that the game is over. The referee has the control of the time. As he's got an inside ball, and Tawera goes over, and he makes it under the posts. So
That's
it looks
incredible.
like we are time on, and Tawera goes over, makes the kick a little bit easier. As we stand, scores a tie. Don't know how long the referee has got. I would suggest that there would be time. There would be time for a restart. It will be a Brighton restart.
And what happened here? We're
So
just watching the replay.
we had the inside ball to Tawera, and unfortunately France followed the halfback. Just opened that door a little bit, as we called it before, the Gregan ball. Everybody runs that Gregan ball. Everybody has it. So, 17.4.
Pressure on
We
here.
are in red time. We are in referee time. There is a lot riding on this kick for Nathan Evans.
I think
He's certainly taking his time to set it up.
Brighton might be ruining 2 missed penalties.
Kicking a goal is, I think, a vitally important part of our game. We are set up for our grandstand finish.
He's missed a couple, but he's got some. So how will he go here?
Flags go up. Flags go up, so we will have time for a restart. So, 3 points in it. Should be 2 points in it.
2 points in it.
2 points in it, sorry. Got excited then and thought it was further on, but there's 2 points in it.
Counting your chickens before they were
I
hatched.
was a little
just
bit.
to
Just
throw
add
in a
those,
cliche
get those
there.
cliches in as much as we
I'm
can.
running out
Andy.
of time. Running out of time here.
It's been an absolute grandstand finish with Satala with the
has.
restart, and now you will want to see Onkaparinga will want to get their hands on the ball and slow it down. Doughty manages to get his hands on the ball, and it's rocking around in there, but
I think Onkas
certainly
have
don't
it.
think you will see much
Big
more.
Tom's
They
kicked
kicked
it
it
to
out,
touch.
kicked it to touch. There is the final whistle. So
The ref has blown it up.
finish on another close one. 2 points this one. They finish with another close one, and finally they are on the right side of the ledger of this close one. There's been a couple where they haven't been, and
Almost a comeback.
Troy
Almost a comeback by
Well,
Onkas in the end there
again,
after
they had that
Brighton.
dip in the second half.
They did.
They had that dip in the second half, and again they finished with their wet sail, and it can't be good for Troy Doughty's heart. And I'll be honest with you, it's
Ian
a good
Bryce
job that Ian Bryce has already suffered the hair loss, because it wouldn't be doing him any good. But
A few
wonderful
more
game.
greys.
We
Few more
knew-
greys to the beard, I think.
We certainly knew that we were going to see a good close game of rugby, and it was an enjoyable one. And you know, and when we're at this level of rugby, and it's a game of inches, and just France just following Troy, possibly showing a little bit of their inexperience, opened the door for Tawera.
Yep.
Who
And who
was
was kudos to him to take advantage of that door being open. That was a great run, great angle he ran there.
certainly was, but great game of rugby. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget that just because it's finished on the live stream doesn't mean that you can't watch it again during the week. I think it will be in 2 parts. There will be 2 live streams up because we had some internet issues. The Brighton Council need to boost their Wi-Fi signal and make our life a little bit easier for when we come down. So you'll be able to watch it in 2 parts. We will try and get you Troy Doughty. I think he wants to go through the tunnel and spend some time with his boys, but as soon as we can get him for you, we'll certainly get him for you. And of course, that means the Uncle George Shield will go back down to Onkas.
Back down the hill, or back up the hill.
Up, down.
Down the road, up the hill.
Yeah, all the way down the Southern Expressway, and it will be back there, and obviously they will then defend it.
I've got to say, the Southern Expressway makes it that much quicker and easier drive. What used to be a long haul down to Onkas.
Certainly. But yeah, so as we see the clubhouse bathed under the lights as Onkaparinga have won it 19 points to 17. Obviously Troy Doughty has to go and do his things with the trophy and the shield and make sure and go and sing the song. But Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure to be sat with you. Thank you very much for sitting out in the cold with me.
Huddled together
as we
for warmth
leave
here.
you here from the CME Sports Lighting Rugby Field. This live stream brought to you by Rugby Union USA, powered by Spacequake Sports. We will see you next week.